What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday morning. Welcome back to Man and Machine, episode 177 here with the PeakBot team and our partner, Mark Phillips from Harvested Financial. Gentlemen, Mark, how are we doing this morning?
We're doing great. Looking forward to a new month here. Happy November, everyone, also.
Happy November. Happy November. Ben, what's going on, man? How are you?
Can't believe it's November already.
Brutal. We were just talking about golf backstage, and I'm done golf. I think I'm done. I think we're done golfing for the year. Maybe you sneak one or two more in, and they're cold. Yeah, brutal. Now,
if you go for a walk, you don't even really feel it.
Yeah, well, you don't have to expose me on camera here, Mark. I don't walk golf courses. But anyway, really quick, it is November. Okay, now. I don't know about you guys or your families or your traditions or anything, but like, are we already jumping into Christmas? Are any of us already jumping into Christmas stuff? Because I'm seeing it around my neighborhood. Certainly seeing it in Target. It's Christmas.
Well, yeah, department stores are gonna go hard. Now for us, it's after Thanksgiving.
Sure. Look, day after Thanksgiving, I still think that's a little much, but you have full license to go Christmas mode day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
full license.
There's
Mark,
no
when are you?
Holiday in between.
Right. Mark, how quickly are we moving on Christmas now for you guys? Like, are we delayed? We wait for it?
I like the after Thanksgiving. I think we got to embrace like the mums. Like, this is still fall, right? Like, we don't need to see Santa quite yet. Even if you want to leave up some spooky for the next couple days, I'm fine with that.
I tell you what, my neighbor, 88-year-old guy or something, next morning, 9 a.m., his spider webs and spiders, all the decorations are down. Like, to certain people, you can't have Halloween up the day after Halloween. Doesn't make any sense. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. And maybe if you went some trick-or-treating, you got some great snacks. I didn't make out great this year. My daughter couldn't only make it to maybe 10 or 12 houses. So next year, we're ramping it up, hopefully. But
that's all you need to start. We
don't
need buckets of candy here.
Dillon likes to bring his buckets of candy in his golf cart with him.
Yeah, that's right. I have my treats. Anyway, we got a great show here today, a packed show. We'll go over a ton, of course, stocks in real life. We're going to hand it over to Mark here to talk about a few of the strategies and a few of his experiences with the past month here and how we are looking moving forward. We'll say hi to Doug, Santa, or even worse, Mariah Carey. That's funny. You know, Mariah Carey has, I'm not going to go too far off here, but have you seen the clips of her like now not being able to sing or her doing these live performances that are just so bad? She used to be the best singer on the planet. What happened, Mariah? If you're listening, Mariah, get your act together. It's time. She's got about a month to get her shit. Oh, sorry for the language.
You can say that. You can say
okay
it.
To get her shit in gear. You know, Mariah Carey's got to get it together. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. Let's get started. Do we want to start with stocks in real life, or do we want to start elsewhere?
Let's do stocks in real life. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it. What do we got today, Ben?
On screen today, we have Beyond Meat. Where's the
I don't know why it's not working. There we go.
There it is. Cool. We've got Beyond Meat today. Ticker BYND. And Dillon, if you remember, Beyond Meat was on the wheel watch list for quite some time. Tagline here: eat what you love, which is kind of ironic because who really knows what's in Beyond Meat? Have you guys ever had a burger or anything with this artificial beef, this vegan beef? I don't know what to call it.
I have some experience. My in-laws are vegan, and so we even like the Christmas sausages, Swedish meatballs, like all those are now made with Beyond Meat. And begrudgingly, I can't tell that much of a difference.
Oh man!
But you still know in the back of your head when you're eating something when it's the real stuff versus this.
It is all mental though, right? I think it is. Like my dad has a thing where like he doesn't want to eat anything deer or venison related. Had the best meatballs of his life, ate 20 of them, found out they were venison, couldn't even take another bite. You know, it's just like I think it's so mental. I've had like veggie burgers and stuff. I don't know if it was this. I don't know much about the business, but it's big and getting bigger.
It's big. It's big. I'll tell you when there was it might even still be out, but Burger King had the Beyond Whopper. So I remember when that came out, I was like, we got to try this. So I went with my brother and we got a regular Whopper and a Beyond Whopper. We cut them in half and swapped them with each other. And you could tell.
You can.
You could tell.
Yeah.
You got to be able to tell.
At least for the Beyond Whopper, you could, it was close enough. Like if you are a vegan that loves burgers, I don't know how that would work out, but if you're a vegan and you know that you love burgers, like it's a good option.
That sounds like somebody who got into a relationship with a vegan or a vegetarian or something, and then they miss their burgers. I know a couple of those.
Oh, like the other side converted over to
right. Yeah,
vegan.
One of my good college buddies, Ben, big guy. Sorry, Cuccio, big guy. Big.
He's
just
vegan now.
Yeah, I don't know if he's all the way vegan, but he's close.
Okay.
And you're just like, how do you? I do look at these people, and I'm like, how are you so fat?
Yeah, he's
not Cuccio if you're listening, but like, how do you get? I mean, I guess the truth is, it's not necessarily all healthy, right? I mean, you're loading up other things to replace the meat. I mean, and we're pulling from all different angles.
I think it's like a bunch of chickpeas and beans and stuff that are going in.
Which is
like a lot of salt. Like the sodium's off the chart. To get it.
We get a nutritional guide for Beyond Meat and Burgers pulled up here.
Maybe we should. I'll tell you what. I'm looking at their chart quickly, and I'll confirm this. Any guesses? Like back in the day, guys. It's good to have you all back here. Any guesses on the IPO on Beyond Meat, Mark?
IPO 2018.
Yeah, that's a pretty good call. I would have said maybe 2020.
We'll split the difference, guys. May 2nd of 2019.
Wow.
We launched Beyond Meat here.
Yep,
so, okay, very interesting. I can pull up the chart here, guys, just really quickly. Any other experiences with Beyond Meat?
Not particularly. I do have the nutritional facts pulled up if we want to take a look.
All right, look at that. Let's look at that quick.
So this is for their burger patties that you could buy at the store and then cook on your grill. This doesn't look so far off from a regular burger, I don't think.
Felt like I had to. Yeah, I felt like I had to. All right, so it's not terrible. I mean, look, I'm eating Bubba burgers, okay? I mean, I'm going as far opposite as you can go here. Give me a Bubba burger.
Yeah, I love me a Bubba burger.
If I'm going with a frozen patty, I want a Bubba burger. That's all I'm saying.
Bubba burger nutritional facts.
No, don't look at this. I mean, it's not going to
a lot less. So, Mark, your point on sodium. Yeah, I think the daily intake percent on Beyond was 15%. Yeah, 340 milligrams of sodium compared to 85 milligrams of sodium.
I got to stay away from that. I just got my blood work back. The only thing I'm in the red on is my cholesterol. I don't think that's a surprise, but everything else is good. Cholesterol's a little high. I think that has to do with a lot of sodium intake, right? And maybe I'm just sounding stupid, but I think they're related. Let's look at the stock before I say anything else stupid. All right, so stock, unfortunately. What's that? Yeah. I'll say. So let's pull this up. So we're going to go full screen on the chart here. So here's their IPO back in May of 2019, right around, call it $50 a share, $45 a share. We had a little fun here for maybe a couple months and reached their all-time highs, at least what it looks like here, around $230 a share, which is a nice jump from their IPO just a few months earlier. That's for sure. And then I got to say, it's kind of been dovetailing ever since then. It was neutral here, choppy maybe for 2021. And then as we fell into 2022 and continued to go, it looked like a lot of bad red earnings reports here. So that's not helping. But maybe they had a good one recently, or they have one coming up here tomorrow. earnings report. So, Mark, you were talking about this action as of late. Let's look at the daily bars here. So, yeah, you're not kidding. So if we kind of scroll out here again, we've been falling down. I mean, I can't believe what this stock is trading at right now. This is kind of ridiculous. But it pre-market, it's at $1.52 with a whole lot of action here as of late. Anybody know why? Mainly due to a debt swap deal that led to millions of new shares dropping the price below $1. Okay. That makes sense.
So there was some really bad news, and then there was a bunch of rumors. Like the big spike was because I think they thought some new investor was going to come in, and then you kind of had like a classic short squeeze scenario where it just ripped back up the other way.
Man. Yeah, this is pretty wild here. I wonder if we break it down even more, you can see exactly where it happened. Yeah, a little all over the place. All right. So, I mean, look, I don't want to touch this stock with a 10-foot pole. I want nothing to do with Beyond Meat at the moment.
You don't want to go short on it?
No. Do you guys? I'm just uncomfortable with
what's the risk reward of that? I mean, like if there's going to be a pop event like that, it's like, the way this is trading and the way it's all over the Reddit message boards, it's like, I agree. You don't touch this with a 10-foot pole when there's that kind of like, structural potential for vol.
Ben, when we were – go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, did Beyond ever make its way into the stonks category? Like stonks only go up.
Well, I'll tell you what, dude. I mean, if you were playing it at the IPO, this is ridiculous. I mean, it went from $45. I think it actually – on the Google search, it said it launched at $25 a share. My chart's showing about 45. But from April 29th to July 15th, it went from $45 a share to $240 a share.
Yeah.
That's fun for whoever was.
There was a period of time, and Mark, maybe you remember this too, but there was a period of time in like the 2020 through maybe early 2022 timeframe where like every IPO would just pop, like to the point where I was looking at IPO calendars and any notable name, like any brand that was like a household brand, if you were to like just watch that throughout the day and wait for shares to start trading, you could get in and get out for like a 10, 20, 30% gain, like clockwork. Like it was crazy back in that time period, and then it kind of fizzled out. I haven't been watching since. But Mark, were you trading any IPOs in that time frame?
No, I was working as an advisor then, so like that's not the kind of stuff that we'd touch other than in the in the PA for some fun. But yeah, no, I remember that. It was like 1999 all over again, where you like literally anything that hit the tape was just like en fuego.
Wild. Why do you think that was?
Everyone was sitting around and nothing to do but trade stonks and crypto.
Yeah, needed some investments to turn around. Went for it. All right. Well, I don't have much else on Beyond Meat. I don't know about you guys. I'm certainly not thinking about putting together a trade idea. But hey, best of luck to you. Quite a fall from grace. I wonder what their direct competitor, like what would their direct competitor be? Some just, I guess farms, right?
Yeah,
I
Tyson.
guess.
Yeah, Tyson.
Actually, Doug has a great point, though, about when it was initially released, was that it was an incredibly hard to borrow stock. So that a lot of the options volume was driven by people trying to replicate positions, short positions in the underlying, or like I said, exercise leaps to unwind positions that like, the borrow rate, meaning a lot of people wanted to borrow shares to sell them short, got very expensive because especially with the IPOs, like it's typically 6 months, a year that like a lot of those shares are locked up. And so there's a very low available float, but a lot of people were betting against it. And they were able to hold on to it 5 years later. They've been proven right, but that would have been an expensive position to hold.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right. Well, I think that covers it on Beyond Meat and our stock of the day and stocks in real life. Let's move on to the bot shop here. We're going to talk about BenBot, and then we're going to hand it off to Mark after that to give his monthly recap.
Cool. So BenBot, we've been going through all of the different components of the BenBot over the last couple of weeks. We are winding down the BenBot PeakBot series, and we will be moving into the King AI series in the next couple of weeks here. We've gone over results, we've gone over entry criteria, we've gone over strike price, stops, take profit. Today, we're going to talk briefly about overnight holds. There's not too much to talk about here. There are two scenarios where there are two different scenarios that the BenBot takes when it comes to overnight holds. One is nothing overnight. The positions are going to close down before the end of the day, and you're just going to have no overnight exposure. Or two, sometimes there will be a holding of shares, but there will be a protective put in place to protect your downside on those shares overnight. So we're going to take a look at these three different scenarios: no overnight holds, what are the pros and cons, overnight holds with puts, and then if you're holding overnight with no protection. And there is a variation of the strategy that we will talk about next week when we conclude the BenBot series, the simple variation of this strategy that you can run with just one trade a day. And that trade doesn't necessarily even need to be very well timed in the morning, but it does need to happen in the morning. So if you're a busy person and you don't want to automate and you want to trade manually, there is a version of this strategy that you can trade manually with just one trade a day shortly after the market opens and kind of let it ride. And we've got some results for that too, because we've been testing that in one of my accounts here. So no overnight holding. What are the pros? What are the cons? You're not going to take a big hit while the markets are closed. And that's the main reason for not holding overnight, right? Like, we don't want that overnight exposure. We remove the largest tail events, and then there's no margin carry overnight if you're not holding position overnight. However, you do give up, if you're selling overnight, you give up that volatility crush, time decay benefits. There are going to be higher transaction counts if you are closing those positions. At Tradier, that doesn't necessarily matter, because if you're a Tradier Pro or Pro Plus member, you're not paying any commission on your contracts. So trading is free. And then on strong multi-day trends, you're not going to be able to monetize those big runs up as well as you could. Which we do see, and we have seen that with the last scenario here where you hold overnight with no protection. But before we get there, let's talk about holding overnight with puts. So you're going to cap your downside and keep your upside participation. And now that's the real reason why we might hold shares overnight with a put. If we get a big drop during the day, or if there's a couple of days of drops in a row, we're looking for a bounce. And if we can protect our downside while potentially capturing that bounce by holding the shares with unlimited upside, that could be a good play for the bot. You also get that psychological comfort, help you sleep a little bit better at night by having that protective put in place, and give yourself a little bit more of a consistent curve. Now, there's a hedge cost to it, right? Because we don't want to do this every night, or else we're just going to be giving away all of the premium we're making on the covered call to buy those puts overnight. There's a parameter risk. If you choose the wrong strike, you could overpay or underpay, or under hedge, the tail. Under hedge meaning you buy a put that's a little bit too far and price drops and you realize a larger loss on the shares than maybe you should have. So there's hedge cost, there's risk there, there's more moving parts, more to think about. Luckily, if you're trading this in an automated fashion, all that thinking is done for you. And then finally, the overnight hold, no protection. You are going to profit on trends up and gaps up overnight. And sometimes IWM does gap up a fair amount overnight. Those are fun. Those are fun to be holding the shares when that happens. It's not so fun when you gap down overnight and there's no protection. It's going to increase those large single day drawdowns. But sticking with the pros, no hedge costs, because we're not buying any hedges there, and it keeps things very simple. And we'll go over the simplicity of it next week. You're going to have a more volatile equity curve because of those longer and deeper drawdowns, and you've got to have a strong stomach for this strategy, because you might see your account, and I've seen it in mine, you might see your position down almost $1,000 at any time before you start to see any sort of recovery. But we can go over what the results for that strategy have looked like. I've been trading the simple version of the strategy, I think, since June. It's doing pretty well. It will make for a good conversation of, hey, should we just trade like this versus how the BenBot is currently trading? The only drawback is since June, we haven't really had a big pullback in the market to where the strategy would get burned from holding shares overnight. We could potentially go back and backtest that, and maybe we will for next week. But those are the three options for overnight holds. Again, the BenBot is either not holding overnight, which I'd say 90% of the days that is the case, and then the other 10% holding with overnight puts. So that way, downside is capped, but we're staying in because we want to maximize upside potential if there is a pop-up overnight. And if there's not a pop-up, it's okay. Once a month, twice a month, we'll pay a little bit of extra for that put hedge and give ourselves a chance to win a little bit more.
Awesome. Very good. With BenBot, again, this is our a strategy that we like to, build a portfolio around. And I say that, of course, you want to be diversifying, but this is a strategy with lower drawdowns, the lowest drawdown of all PeakBot strategies on the market currently. So something to consider if you're not trading it now. Of course, you got to have the cash. But Mark, any thoughts or questions or any insight here on BenBot's overnight holds? Or if not, no worries, we can move right along here.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I like this strategy for my accounts, using that as kind of an anchor because, as you pointed out, it has more equity-like returns and an equity-like profile. So, of course, all short-term options trading is a fairly high-risk activity. So I don't necessarily want to say that this is like a lower risk, but it does kind of, because of the capital required for it, because of kind of the drawdown profile of a name like IWM, you're in a lot more of a stable position. So, allocating up to like 50% of a client's portfolio here and combine that with some of the other, higher risk bots like the King AI, which we're about to talk about, or, Shorbo, and using those as kind of complements to this bot, I think it works really well in conjunction with all that. And actually, specifically, I think I've made this point on the show before, but IWM as the underlying, I think is a really good choice. Partly what we've talked about in terms of like the drawdowns, but also on the upside, right? I like selling calls on IWM more than I like selling calls on a QQQ or an SPY even, that I like being like selling that upside. Like obviously with all covered call strategies, you're giving away, the right tail, the huge big upside, but the nature of small caps, and especially when you put like 1,000 of them in a ticker together, they're not going to have that explosive upside. And if they do, well, they're moving into the S&P and QQQ. So the kind of natural dynamic of being a small cap index, I think, is that, and it's also got a little bit higher vol than either of those other two. So I think the underlying is a great choice for the BenBot, and how it fits into the portfolio, I found works really well.
Excellent. And let me just share quickly, just the last 7 trades, Ben, I'm looking at the data, wins for BenBot. Coming off a tough middle of October, right?
Hey, listen, October would have been a great month if Trump never had that China tariff day.
Maybe a lot of if Trump. But yeah, look, I think October just skated out as only the second red month since launch. Only lost 1.8%, which again is like what we're getting at here, right? Like internally, of course, Ben and the team, we want to see a better month, but when you lose $750 on that Friday, really tough to recover from that. And so, but it's done a great job, Ben. You've done a great job, and very excited for the future of BenBot and some of these other data points.
Yeah, it's been ripping the past. Did you say 7 trading days?
So and it's 9 for its last 10. So it's a job well done there for sure. Made $414 last week, 1.1%. So quite a recovery. All right, let's move along. We're going to hand it on over to Mark here to cover a number of different things in which I'll let him tell you what those things are. I know in King AI is included. So Mark, all you, man.
Oh, you gave me the perfect setup here because, like, talking about the month of October, like, it was a tough month to trade out there.
Yeah.
You go back and look at where the S&P started October versus where we ended it. We were up a little over 3% over that time. But as you alluded to, there was a real choppy period in the middle of the month there. So in many ways, like, short-term, trading opportunities were really difficult because not only were we moving directionally pretty consistently going up, which is something that generally hurts kind of short volatility strategies. We also had a dose of some pretty active vol in the middle. So kind of the two worst case scenarios for premium capture happened throughout October. And we went from one extreme to the other, back to, the AI train. And in talking to all my different clients, like, and whether they're new, whether they're existing, like, this market has confounded a lot of people. I think we're looking at why do things keep going up? We can look at macroeconomic reasons why they shouldn't. We can call the AI trade a bubble, but at the end of the day, that's the direction it keeps going. And I don't know why exactly. Anyone that does is lying to you. But I think it's the kind of market that you have to be involved with, but also be somewhat defensive and thinking about, what's going to happen if and when the other shoe is going to drop. But it's hard not to stay involved when, you're putting up 3% months. So, when I look at my big overall portfolios with the backbone allocated to long-term equities, like, that does well. Specifically in the bot division of that, something like the Ben bot is a bot that I want to continue having there, as confusing as you might feel looking at the market overall. The King AI bot is probably the thing I'm most excited about, though. And so King Condor, like I said, it will get chopped up in a month like this because you kind of have the two extremes of bad case scenarios. But we've obviously been talking a lot about it, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming, bot shop details on this. But I allocated clients over to King AI at the end of last week. And based on, everything we've been talking about, I think that's probably the most exciting thing I've got in the stable now, incorporating that for the premium capture, continuing to adapt because Dillon and I were having this conversation last week, that trading is hard and, the strategies have a half-life and, you constantly need to, I think we talked about this last month, adapt to different indicators, adapt to different narratives about what are going to be those significant economic events. And so King AI coming out now where, all my clients are live in King AI. That's kind of the next step forward in being more adaptive, more learning in terms of, which opportunities are appropriate to take short positions. So very excited about that. I think that's, going to do well. And we don't know where this market is going. So we need to, keep a stable of opportunities out there.
Yeah, real quick, Mark, just to comment on King AI, because you were talking about the half-life of strategies here. It's been interesting because I don't remember exactly who it was, but I talked to like 3 different people last week that all said the same thing of, hey, I've been watching algos or trading with algos for a while now, and I found the same thing, that a strategy is good for like 3, 6, 9 months, and then the algorithm just it needs to be adjusted. So I love building AI into this strategy because it's and machine learning, because it's going to be learning on itself. It's going to be adjusting itself and looking for those optimal conditions, those optimal trades. My favorite feature of King AI is the fact that it's going to adjust the delta of either wing, right? You could trade the 20 delta on the put side, you could trade the 10 delta on the call side, and the bot is going to use different ratings of confidence level to determine what is the best delta to place your strikes at.
Yep, exactly. Like that. I think that's part of markets being efficient, right? Is that's exactly what we should expect, is that, nothing's going to be a set it and forget it permanently, sell the 10 delta or sell XYZ covered call. So, that's just all part of being involved in the markets. But I think this adaptation is going to be a really strong one.
Yeah, if you have an edge, you have an edge for a short while until the edge is elsewhere. And you got to be diversified. You got to be adapting. The one thing I love about this King AI update, built off of the King Condor bot, and I was just thinking about this now, how often can you say that you made an update to a strategy enhanced with AI and machine learning, yet I think you can make the argument that it got simpler. Okay, yes, the deltas are shifting at the entry based on more data points. Okay, there's more complexity in the back end, but the idea is let's find where the pressure is. Let's give ourselves enough breathing room on each side individually and go. And turn off the lights, go away, and let it expire. Mark's original saying of keep calm and Condor on, that is now in play more than ever with King AI. The stop loss feature is out. Okay, if we're going to enter, we're going to expire. And manually, you can do whatever you want. Intervene wherever you'd like, okay? And our win sizes are going to vary. All right, if we're out at the 10 delta, which a lot of the recent trades have been, not all at the 10, but right, I mean, we're certainly pulling it back from the 20 delta with these markets as of late. So the premium collected's more like $100 instead of $295, $300 on the 20 deltas. But the win rate is what's so exciting, right? We're going from a 56% win rate to 95% win rate, and that's over 10 years of backtest data. But let's talk about live trades. 91%, I think 22 out of 24 trades. Man, yeah, very, very excited. And you get more trades, right?
Yeah.
This thing's not as scared because we're giving it the breathing room that it needs. We're not going to trade 10 times a month. Boy, it's going to sit out for economic events still. We're not going to be trading through FOMC. We're not going to be trading through certain presidential speeches, etc. But
although I will mention that we will let the bot run, it just won't trade. We let it run for FOMC last week. The bot won. The bot chose the correct strikes and it won. And we're going to continue to and we're doing that just so that way the bot will continue to learn on the data that that it gets fed.
Yeah, and here it is. Let's just show the people what they want, right? So here's some data on King AI. Here's just October here, okay? So if we pull this up here and we look at the chart, all right? So anything in green here is since it's been launched, all right? So we can see here, since the bot has been live trading, it's made over $1,200 per unit, okay? And this is on a $10 spread that can enter consecutive trades and 2 trades at once, if you will. So got to have the cash for that. But I mean, look, the equity curve is ridiculous. And there's new UX in the PeakBot app that allows you to see all of the bot's results in apps. So check it out. The results are available on our website. If you have any questions, ask. We're going to shoot you straight. All right. When this bot loses, you'll come up across a max loss scenario where you're going to lose $1,000 minus the premium you collected. All right. But what do we got, Doug, going on here?
An interesting thought.
Okay.
Says, I wonder if AI will get good enough to start picking butterflies. So specifically, I'm assuming where the body of the butterfly is placed. Because if you could pinpoint that, and it's not where we currently are at the money, you can make a ton of money for a pretty low amount of risk. If you could pinpoint that. So
for 6 to 9 months until the edge is lost. And then you got to do it again.
Yeah, well, if the model continuously learns on itself, who knows?
Look, we're heading in a great direction with this artificial intelligence and machine learning here. And I'll say this, it's very easy for a lot of trading companies and algo companies and alert providers to throw the word AI out there. And it's another thing to actually do it the right way. I do firmly believe that we're doing it the right way here at PeakBot and responsibly.
Yeah, we haven't done it for so long because we wanted to do it the right way. We didn't want to just throw the term out there if it wasn't properly being used.
Well, and right, what I'm saying is we got 10 years of backtest data that show absolutely ridiculous results, and we can throw a price tag on that like many would and many do. We see it on social media every day. So, look, very excited about King AI. Mark, anything else that you wanted to cover here?
No, that's definitely the most exciting thing coming down the pike for November. Well, we're already out, actually. Technically, October 31st was the first day my clients were trading it.
Nice.
So
Beautiful.
looking forward to that. And, one more teaser that'll be in my monthly commentary. And this kind of goes along with the theme of, making sure you're participating in the underlying equity markets and not getting dissuaded by valuation, especially if you're looking at a long-term investment, is a long-term investment bot that we're building and hope to deploy sometime this month also. And that is SKU-Preem. And we'll definitely do a full show getting into all the details on that. But that's an exciting move, or I'm excited about it because, it kind of brings the power of a bot and something that's making active hedging, rebalancing trades, but to a long-term investment portfolio. So not just using this in your risk-on, highly aggressive kind of allocation, but using the power of bots that are constantly watching the markets and able to kind of hedge dynamically to, an overlay for a long-term position. So SKU-Preem is something I'm also very excited to talk more about soon.
Only getting smarter.
SKU-Preem is going to be exclusively available to Mark's clients as well. That is not a bot that is going to be in the PeakBot portfolio. It will be in the PeakBot advisory suite, if you will. So got to sign up with Harvested Financial. You can go to peakbot.com/harvested-financial to submit your application and get started with Mark. But yes,
Okay.
that bot is going to be pretty awesome. I know we've been working on it for a few weeks now. I'm excited to get that launched. I think that's going to be a huge addition for your clients, Mark.
Yep, it's it delivers an accelerated index type return with the same amount of volatility, and it gets that by capturing options premium and actively hedging. So two things that bots do really well.
Can't wait for SKU-Preem. All right, gentlemen. So we've got about 20 minutes till the bell here. How is the market looking? We look like we're up a bit. Nothing.
I think I saw we're up like 18.
Yeah, futures are up slightly.
Pre-market, I'm just looking at SPY. Pre-market at 684.92, closed at 682.06 on Friday. All right, anything we should look out for this week, Ben? Let's get on out of here.
Let's take a look at the economic events coming up. So today we've got manufacturing data at 10 a.m. Sorry. Nothing much going on later in the day. Tomorrow, bunch of data, jobs data, factory data. Nothing to really consider turning the bots off for. Wednesday, some more jobs data, services data. Thursday, more jobs data. This is the week of jobs data, it seems. But really nothing else to warrant us turning off bots. Now, Thursday into Friday is where we need to start getting a little bit cautious, in my opinion. We've got non-farm payrolls. Non-farm payrolls have moved the market in ways that would not be beneficial for a lot of our bots. So King Condor, for example, not going to be rolling Thursday into Friday. I think we need to go back to the data for King AI and see how King AI performed on NFP days. Plus, we've got unemployment rates. We've got the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report. So Thursday going into Friday, all those overnight trades, we're going to take off on those days and not put ourselves in any sort of risk scenario there.
All right. Well, a couple things to look out for this week, but nothing out of this world. All right, guys, anything else we want to grab here before we get on out of here?
I'm good.
All right. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Mark will be joining us once a month at we'll call it the beginning of each month, the first Monday, to talk about his recap and what's been working, what's not, and what's next. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Ben, give me the rollout music.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Happy Monday. Hope you have a fantastic start to your November. We'll be back live Friday at noon Eastern for the
Tradier Summit this week.
Oh, do we have the banner? Tradier Summit this week. Is it multi-day or just 4th?
Wednesday.
Just Wednesday. Tradier Summit. PeakBot will be presenting. Mark, you up? Mark?
I'll be watching.
Mark will be watching. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, see you at the peak. Take care.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.